Have you ever had a moment, a single specific moment, where you feel the axis of your life just shift? Where the person you were before is in the rearview mirror and this new, unknown person is staring back at you from the windshield? For me, that moment wasn't at a career milestone or a funeral or a birth. It was in a hotel room in Vegas, of all places. Laughed softly. My life before that trip was predictable. I was a spreadsheet of a woman. School, job, marriage, amicable divorce. My world was curated, comfortable, and, well, vanilla. My idea of a wild night was a second glass of Pinot Grigio and staying up past 11. My friends, God love them, decided I needed an intervention. Hence, the girls' trip to Vegas. The first night was a blur of neon and clinking slots. The second night, we ended up at one of those impossibly cool rooftop bars, the kind where the music is a low thrum you feel in your chest, not just your ears. And that's where I saw him. His name was David, a friend of a friend who was in town for a conference. He wasn't just handsome. He had a presence, an easy confidence. He was wearing a deep blue shirt that made his skin seem to glow under the lights. We started talking. Not the shouted, meaningless chatter of a club, but a real conversation. He was a jazz musician, a pianist. He spoke about music with a passion I realized I'd been missing in my own life. We talked for what felt like minutes, but was actually hours. My friends eventually drifted away, throwing me looks that were equal parts shock and glee. He asked if I'd like to see the view from his hotel suite. It was on the top floor, and spreadsheet Jenna, 2 glasses of wine Jenna. I said yes. My heart was hammering against my ribs like it was trying to escape. This wasn't me, but it felt like it could be. His suite was all floor-to-ceiling windows, the whole glittering, sinful expanse of the strip laid out below us like a circuit board of dreams. He poured us a drink, put on some music, something smooth and complex. No words, just a feeling. We stood at the window, not talking, just being. The air between us was charged, thick with this unspoken thing. He turned to me, and he didn't just lunge. He raised a hand so slowly and brushed a stray piece of hair from my cheek. His fingertips were calloused from the piano strings, a rough contrast against my skin that sent a jolt straight through me. It was the most deliberate, conscious touch I had ever felt. Her voice becomes softer, more intimate, drawing the audience in. Jenna. That first touch, it unraveled me. It was like he'd found a loose thread on the sweater of my old self and just gave it a gentle pull. He kissed me, and it wasn't a question, it was an answer. An answer to a question I'd been too afraid to even ask. What followed was a revelation. It wasn't just sex. It was a lesson in attention, in presence. His hands. I remember thinking about his hands, how different they looked against my skin, this beautiful stark contrast of dark and light. It was a visual poem. He moved with an unhurried certainty, like he was composing something. There was no rush. It was all intention. He took his time exploring my body, learning its geography like he was memorizing a favorite piece of music. He paid attention to the places I didn't even know were waiting to be discovered. A spot on the back of my knee, the sensitive skin on the inside of my wrist. It was worshipful. It was devout. And the overall feeling wasn't just arousal. It was a profound sense of being seen. Not as a mom, not as an ex-wife, not as an employee, but as a woman, a body, a soul. He looked at me like I was the entire mystery of the universe, and he had all night to solve it. When we finally came together, it was seismic. It was a feeling of being completely filled, completely claimed, but in the most liberating way possible. It was like my entire history of beige, adequate intimacy had been erased and rewritten in brilliant, blinding color. The rhythm wasn't frantic. It was a syncopated beat, a jazz rhythm, unexpected, deep, and utterly compelling. It was a conversation without words, a push and pull that felt ancient. And when I finally let go, the climax wasn't a small, polite shudder. It was a tidal wave. It was a full body, soul leaving your body event that started in the soles of my feet and crashed out of me in a cry I didn't even recognize as my own. I saw stars, actual literal stars behind my eyelids, mixing with the neon glow of the Vegas skyline. Afterwards, I was ruined, in the best way. I was a blank slate. I lay there, breathless, with his arm around me, our skin damp and cooling in the AC, and I stared out at that ridiculous, glorious city. The axis had shifted. The spreadsheet had been deleted. It wasn't that I'd gone black, like some crude slogan. That phrase is so small, so pathetic compared to the reality. It was that I had experienced a depth of connection, a mastery of touch, a confidence and presence that I had never known was possible. David wasn't a category, he was a catalyst. I came home from Vegas a different woman. I was hungry for that feeling again, that intensity, that authenticity. It rewired my desires. It wasn't about skin color. It was about the energy, the confidence, the soulful presence I had experienced with him, a quality I have since found and now seek in Black men. It's a cultural confidence, a way of moving through the world that resonates with me on the deepest level. So no, it's not that you never go back. It's that once you've tasted a five-star meal, you lose your appetite for fast food. Once you've heard a symphony, a jingle just won't do. He gave me the key to a room inside myself I never knew existed. And now I only want to live in that room. She smiles, a serene, knowing smile. The lights fade to black.